In the vast landscape of success literature, one name stands as a titan: Napoleon Hill. His masterwork, Think and Grow Rich, has sold tens of millions of copies and has become a Bible for achievers around the globe. But what many don't know is that the principles in that book were part of a much larger philosophy, a lifetime of work commissioned by the great industrialist Andrew Carnegie. In 1941, Hill distilled these powerful ideas into a series of booklets he called Mental Dynamite, a term Carnegie himself used to describe the explosive power of a focused, organized mind. For decades, these booklets were lost to time, gathering dust in archives. But now they have been rediscovered, and within their pages lies the very core of Hill's teachings, a blueprint for mastering the single greatest asset you will ever possess. Today we are going to unlock the secrets from a special compilation of this lost work, a book titled How to Own Your Own Mind. This isn't just a book about positive thinking. It's a manual on the mechanics of thought. What if you could learn to control the very faculties of your mind with the same precision that a skilled operator controls a complex machine? What if you could direct your thoughts, your emotions, and your willpower toward any definite goal you choose, and in doing so, unlock a power that has been dormant within you your entire life? This is the promise of this book. It's a journey into the workshop of the soul, where your desires are fashioned into reality. Napoleon Hill believed that the only thing over which any human being has complete, unchallenged control is their own mind. Yet tragically, it is the one thing that most people make the least attempt to control. So if you're ready to stop being a creature of circumstance and start being a creator of circumstance, stay with me. Because by the end of this summary, you will understand exactly what it means to own your own mind, and you will hold the key to an entirely new level of personal power. Let's begin with the first pillar of Hill's philosophy: creative vision. This is far more than just imagination. As Andrew Carnegie explained to a young Napoleon Hill back in 1908, creative vision is the ability to recognize opportunities and, crucially, to take action to benefit from them. It is the bridge between a fleeting thought and a tangible achievement. To understand it, we must first understand the two types of imagination. The first is synthetic imagination. This is the faculty of the mind that takes old ideas, concepts, plans, and facts and rearranges them into new combinations. The old saying, "there is nothing new under the sun," is largely true, because most of what we consider new is simply a novel application of something old. Think of the modern mail order business. It was started by a telegraph operator who used his idle time and access to the telegraph lines to sell watches to his fellow operators. When he was fired for this, he didn't give up. He simply switched his method from telegraphy to the mail, creating mimeographed catalogs. He took two old concepts, selling and the postal service, and combined them in a new way. This is synthetic imagination at work. It's the force behind the railroad refrigerator car, which was just an oversized icebox on wheels, and the Pullman sleeping car, which was simply the idea of putting beds into railroad coaches. Most of the world's great fortunes and innovations have been built on this principle of combining old ideas in new ways. The second and more powerful type is creative imagination. This is the faculty that taps into something deeper. Hill describes it as the workshop of the soul, the direct link to what he calls infinite intelligence. It's through creative imagination that truly new, original ideas are perceived. This isn't something that happens by accident. It is the result of a mind that has been intensely charged with a problem or a desire. Consider the story of Thomas Edison and the incandescent light bulb. Edison tried more than 10,000 different combinations of old ideas using synthetic imagination to find a filament that would burn for a sustained period without burning out. He failed over and over again, but he didn't see them as failures. He saw them as 10,000 ways that didn't work. His mind was so consumed with his purpose, so obsessed with finding a solution, that he had charged his subconscious mind with the problem. Then, one day, the solution came to him in what he described as a hunch. The idea of using the principle of charcoal, burning a substance in a vacuum, without oxygen, flashed into his mind. He recognized it immediately as the missing link. This idea, this hunch, was a product of his creative imagination, a solution delivered by his subconscious mind after his conscious mind had done all the hard work. This is a critical point. Creative vision is not a passive process. Mere wishes and fleeting thoughts make no impression on the subconscious mind. To engage your creative imagination, your desire must be intensified until it becomes an obsession. You must focus your mind on your purpose with such concentration that it becomes the dominating thought of your mind. It is this repetition of thought, emotionalized by a deep, burning desire, that impresses the idea upon the subconscious. This is why, as Carnegie pointed out, persistence is the cornerstone of all great achievement. It was Edison's refusal to accept defeat through more than 10,000 failures that prepared his mind for the application of faith, the state of mind that clears away fear and doubt and opens the door to creative imagination. But imagination alone is not creative vision. Creative vision is a 10-part process, a series of principles that, when used together, turn imagination into reality. According to Carnegie, the man with true creative vision moves with definiteness of purpose. He knows exactly what he wants. He embraces opportunities with that same definiteness of purpose. He plans every move through organized endeavor. He uses the mastermind principle, surrounding himself with the knowledge and ability of others. He uses applied faith to remove limitations from his own mind. He follows the habit of going the extra mile, rendering more and better service than he is paid for. He keeps his mind attuned to the circumstances around him, observing the needs and desires of people. He moves on his own personal initiative without being urged to do so. He assumes full responsibility for his own actions. And finally, he develops and uses both synthetic and creative imagination. These 10 factors are the difference between a dreamer and an achiever. Imagination is just 1/10 of the equation. It is the combination of all 10 that creates the unstoppable force of creative vision. Now, let's move to the second major theme, which is the very engine of this entire philosophy: organized thought. Napoleon Hill states, "Thoughts are things," and it is significant that thought is one of the few things an individual can control completely. The power with which we think is mental dynamite, but if it is not organized and used constructively, it becomes a mental explosive that will blast our hopes and lead to failure. The purpose of this chapter is to show you how the power of thought can be organized and directed toward definite ends. To understand this, Hill presents a fascinating model of the mind, which we can think of as a complex factory. At the bottom are the raw materials, the stimuli that enter our minds. These come from 3 main sources: the 5 senses, which are notoriously unreliable; the memory, our internal filing cabinet, which is also undependable; and 3, intuition, or the 6th sense, which is our connection to the subconscious mind and infinite intelligence. These raw materials are then processed by the various departments of the mind. There's the faculty of imagination, the builder of all plans and ideas. There's the faculty of conscience, which serves as our moral guide. There's the faculty of reason, the presiding judge that weighs evidence and forms opinions. And then there is the faculty of emotions, the seat of all our desires and the source of most of our actions. The emotions are incredibly powerful, but also very dangerous if not controlled. So, who is the boss of this entire factory? The faculty of willpower. Your willpower is the master of your mind. It has the power to modify, change, or balance the actions of all other mental functions. It can overrule the emotions. It can set aside the decisions of reason. It can make habits, and it can unmake them. It is the tool with which you direct your thoughts and focus your attention. The process of organized thinking begins with this factory. You must start by becoming the master of your own mind. This involves taking an inventory of your thought habits. Are your habits voluntary or are they involuntary? Involuntary habits are those that develop through what Hill calls social heredity, the influences of our environment, our upbringing, our friends, and our culture. Most people's opinions, beliefs, and thinking habits are not their own. They are simply absorbed from those around them. These habits follow the path of least resistance and lead to procrastination, indifference, and failure. To own your own mind, you must use your willpower to form voluntary habits. A voluntary habit begins with the repetition of a desired thought or action. Just like a wagon wheel cuts a rut in a dirt road, repeated thoughts cut a mental rut in the brain. At first, it takes effort, but after enough repetition, the mind takes over the habit and it becomes automatic. The key to making this process easy is motive. Motive and habit are twin brothers. If you have a definite motive backed by a strong emotional desire, it is no trouble at all to form the thought habits you need. The procrastinator drifts through life because he has no obsessional motive for doing anything in particular. The process of organized thinking, therefore, follows 4 concrete steps. First step, the adoption of a definite major purpose. This is your primary goal, the one thing you desire above all else. Second step, the creation of a practical plan for attaining that purpose. Third step, forming a mastermind alliance with others whose experience, skill, and influence you need to carry out your plan. Fourth step, taking immediate and persistent action in carrying out your plan. Observe that all 4 of these steps are within your control, but they require the formation of controlled habits. Organized thinking is nothing more than persistent action in applying the principles of success. And the most important principle of all is action. As Andrew Carnegie stated, never allow any student of this philosophy to pass under your influence without having the word action burned into his consciousness, for it is one of the key words of the entire philosophy. Now that we understand the mechanics of creative vision and organized thought, we must turn to the final and most potent principle, controlled attention. This is the master key that unlocks all the other powers of the mind. Hidden in these 2 words is a strange power sufficient to remove all ordinary self-imposed limitations. Controlled attention is concentration and more. It is the act of combining all the faculties of the mind and concentrating them upon the attainment of a definite purpose. When you master this principle, you will understand why a definite major purpose is so essential. You will know why it must be written out, memorized, and repeated often. Controlled attention is the mechanism by which you impress your desires upon your subconscious mind. Let's think about this through an analogy. Your brain is like the plate of a camera. The object you wish to photograph is your definite major purpose. The lens of the camera is your controlled habit of attention. To get a clear picture, the lens must be properly focused, and the object must be flooded with the right amount of light, which is your emotional feeling, particularly the emotion of faith. Through repeated exposures, by constantly holding the picture of your purpose in your conscious mind, you register a clear outline of that thought in your brain. Your subconscious mind then takes this clear picture and goes to work to translate it into its physical reality. inspiring you with the ideas and plans you need. This power is amplified exponentially when you combine your attention with others in a mastermind alliance. This is the secret behind the success of Andrew Carnegie's Steel Empire. He allied himself with a group of men who all concentrated their dominating thoughts on the same objective, the making and marketing of steel. This collective, controlled attention creates a mass psychology that gives each individual increased self-reliance, imagination, enthusiasm, and the will to win. Controlled attention is the master of your habits, the guardian of your mind, and the director of your efforts. It is the tool by which you harness and focus the incredible power of your thoughts. It is what allows you to specialize. Just as a modern department store is a collection of highly specialized stores under one roof, an organized mind is one that can focus its full power on one specific task at a time. The doctor who engages in general practice will never have the same earning power or expertise as the one who specializes. The same is true in every field. Specialization, through concentration of effort, gives one greater power. This is why a definite major purpose is so critical. It gives your mind a single point of focus. It conserves your energy. Worry is the brainchild of the man who is not definite. The very moment you decide on a definite course of action and begin to move, you cease to waste your energy on worry. Let's look at the power of this in action. In 1933, when Franklin D. Roosevelt became president, the United States was in the grip of the Great Depression. The entire country was paralyzed by fear and doubt. What was Roosevelt's first move? He used the principle of controlled attention on a national scale. He called the leaders of Congress to the White House and sold them on one idea, forgetting party affiliations and concentrating all their efforts on the single task of reestablishing confidence in the American people. He then did the same with newspaper publishers, radio announcers, and church leaders. Through his famous fireside talks, he spoke directly to the people. In one master stroke, he focused the attention of an entire nation on a single definite major purpose, and the results were like magic. The scare headlines about business depression were replaced with headlines about business recovery. This is the power that is unleashed when people blend their minds in a spirit of harmony and focus their combined power on a definite purpose. This same principle works for you as an individual. When you face a problem, the best way to deal with it is to tackle it head-on, centering your attention on it with a determined will to find a solution. Unpleasant problems have a way of melting away when you do this. Controlled attention, as one psychologist said, burns a hole straight through the heart of the knottiest of problems. So, how do we begin this journey of owning our own minds? It starts with a simple, personal inventory. Get away to a quiet spot where you won't be interrupted. First, find out what you would like most to do. What is your definite major purpose? Second, recognize that whatever you get from life will depend on what you give to life through some form of useful service. The man who prepares himself to move from poverty to riches is like a farmer who wishes to convert a forest into a productive field. He first clears away the timber and debris. In your case, this means clearing your mind of all negatives and self-imposed limitations. Then he takes inventory of his assets, your education, experience, and natural aptitudes. Then he looks for a market for his service, always with the habit of going the extra mile. If you are finding this deep dive into the mechanics of the mind as powerful as I am, and you want to continue building your mental toolkit with the best ideas from the world's most impactful books, please take a moment to subscribe to our channel, BookPiler. Your support allows us to keep compiling this kind of actionable wisdom for you. Once this preparation is complete, you are ready to begin. But let me offer a warning. Riches which are sought merely for the sake of riches alone often avoid capture. The best mental attitude is one in which you center your thoughts more upon the service you render than upon the riches you are seeking. The greatest requirement for accumulating riches is the ability to negotiate with others with a minimum of friction so as to gain a maximum of friendly cooperation. The most important thing in life is human relationships. All success and all failure are the result of the quality of your human relationships. This brings us to the core message of the book. Napoleon Hill, through the voice of Andrew Carnegie, has laid out for us a philosophy of individual achievement that is as timeless as it is powerful. It is a philosophy that rests on three pillars: creative vision, organized thought, and controlled attention. Creative vision is your ability to see opportunity where others see none, and to use your imagination, both synthetic and creative, to forge a path forward. It is fueled by a definite major purpose that has been fanned into an obsession by a burning desire. Organized thought is the process of becoming the master of your own mind. It is about understanding the different faculties of your mind, your reason, your emotions, your willpower, and bringing them under your conscious control. It's about replacing the involuntary habits of social heredity with the voluntary, controlled habits that serve your purpose. And controlled attention is the master key. It is the focused energy that directs all your mental and physical resources toward your definite aim. It is the tool that prepares your mind for faith, that unlocks your subconscious power, and that attracts the circumstances you need to succeed. The message is clear. You are the architect of your own career. You are the master of your own destiny. But this mastery is not a gift. It is an achievement. It is the result of self-discipline, of forming definite thought habits, and of taking persistent, decisive action. As Carnegie so powerfully stated, the man who succeeds often has less ability, less education, less experience than the man who fails, but he has more action consciousness. So, I leave you with this final thought from the book. You now have an understanding of the power that lies sleeping within you. You have the blueprint for how to awaken it, organize it, and direct it. The power with which you think is mental dynamite. You can allow it to remain disorganized, a mental explosive that leads to inevitable failure, or you can organize and use it constructively for the attainment of your definite ends. You can leave your mind open to the stray negative thoughts of others, or you can guard it and feed it only the thoughts of your own choosing. The choice is yours. This is the privilege which the Creator left to every human being. You have the power to own your own mind. The only question that remains is, will you?